Extracting something.
Video games.
Really December, then I'll insulate hives, and then I'm done. I don't touch them till sometime in March. Look forward to that. I mean, I love what I do, but on the other hand, what everyone's calling,
Work.
I'm trying to get in.
No, it's the
three of us.
landscapers.
All right, we just have a few people walking in, guys, so we'll hopefully be right with you.
I don't think I sent it to you, Roberto. But
Thank you, sir.
send it to you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Print it out.
Perfect.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they had standing room only in this room.
Yes. I'll pass that to you because Linda
Justin,
is not here yet. But we do have a quorum when we add in everyone online. We have Seth, Emily, Dave. And Samantha online, so. Roberto, Peter, and Steve here, so. Yeah. I think the only person we may be missing is, I can't think of anyone else. Oh, and Jesse Bell. We can unveil this at the bar office, by the way.
What's up?
We can unveil this at our office. We're right down the ramp.
I was telling Jericho that I was gonna put a TV up in my office so that I could keep my calendar up there.
Hey, Jeff,
Yes, sir.
do you know what the resolution was with, Shellfish Association and seed moving, and they're gonna close the fishery on Friday, and
Yes, that is the plan for now, but they have been efforting since last week and a little bit on Saturday to move as much as they can to see if we could not have to do that.
I see.
But we've only had one person say that they're not interested in closing on Friday, so we knew there'd always be a couple.
Yeah,
But I think that's what we're gonna do, because we're trying to take the shallow water stranding and prevent it from being a beach stranding. And
because we, well, I tried to say, we need to wait until Jeff and Tara here, but there was no stopping the group. They were there, they all had stuff to say, so we just rolled.
yeah, and we ended up meeting with the Shellfish Association once Tara got back again.
Yeah.
And I think we have a pretty good plan, so
Good.
we're gonna try it out and see how it goes. And everyone seemed to be kind of on the same page that it was important to do, so.
Good.
We're gonna see, I let the town manager know, she said, sounds like a plan, so I think we're full speed ahead.
Excellent.
It'll be really great though, on Wednesday or Thursday to not have to do it, but we probably will. But Tara would know far more about it than me. But Bill, if you want to get us started, we can.
yeah, okay.
We're in Gorman.
What do we got here? Samantha is, we have,
Dave's up there.
Dave is up there.
is Kimberly there?
Yes, Kim is there.
I'm here.
Okay, hi,
Then we have Seth and Emily.
okay, so, I guess we might as well get started, huh?
Yes.
Okay. As a preliminary matter, my name is Phil Smith. I'm the vice chair of the Harbor Plan Update Committee. And today is Monday, November 6th, 2023. permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Jesse,
Here.
Samantha,
Here.
Seth,
Here.
I hear a faint here. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Roberto is here. Emily,
Here.
Dave Franzuto, I think I saw him.
Here.
Steve, I know is here. Peter is here. And Linda Williams is not here at this point. I think the staff, we have Kristen, Kim and Jack. Is there anybody else?
We have Dak and Alan with us today too,
Tara's up there.
and Tara.
Tara? And who are the others? Dak?
Dak Stewart from the Woods Hole Group, and then Alan Bartels from Urban Harbors.
Okay,
I'm sorry if I said anyone's name wrong.
okay.
It was hurting.
This meeting is being conducted pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Harbor Plan Update Committee is convening by video conference and as posted in the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Meeting ground rules. We are now turning to the first item of the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please don't do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken at this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So without further ado, let's turn to the agenda. We're welcoming Jeff, Tara, and Linda. Linda is not here.
She is on her way. She just let me know.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. The agenda was sent out. I think Kimberly sent out an updated agenda this morning. Is there any comments or further discussion on that? Okay, I guess we have to do that by roll call vote. Jesse,
Aye.
Samantha,
Aye.
Seth?
Aye.
Roberto?
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye,
and the chair votes aye. Approval of the minutes. I do not believe we have minutes.
No
to
minutes.
approve- No minutes to approve at this point. The second item on the agenda is the annual committee report for fiscal year 23 by Peter. Peter, do you want to just give us an introduction? I know you sent around something this morning, but why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody got it, and I'm just looking for you guys to tell me if it's okay. If there's anything I forgot, please tell me so that I can include it. This is our first report in the town report, so I included everyone's name, how we were created, and our mission. So, you guys please tell me how it needs to be changed or added to or whatever.
I've got a couple of comments. One, just a nit in the first paragraph, to update, not updates the 2009 plan. Singular. I believe Samantha is representing, the Nantucket Shellfish Association. It looks like you have her as a Nantucket Fishermen's Council.
And that's what's on the town's website. So
Is that
that's
right?
That's what I use.
That's correct. It's more technically that I am representing the Fishermen's Council as the
Okay.
kind of working waterfront group.
Okay. The other comment I had was on the second page, Peter, you mentioned the first meeting, at the Nantucket Hotel. We had two additional meetings, one at the Admiralty Club.
That's correct, but that was after the end of the fiscal year.
Oh,
So these reports are for the fiscal year, so it's fiscal year 23, so that begins on July 1, 2022, going to June 30th, 2023. So we only have that
Oh,
window
okay,
from
got it. Okay.
January 1 to June 30th.
got it. Because we also had the Admiralty Club and we had the meeting at Great Harbor.
It's tempting to put everything in because we've done a lot of great stuff this whole year, but that won't be till next year.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, time it to avoid that.
Let the record show that our chair, Linda Williams, just arrived at 1:12. Do you want to take over?
Had enough of this room yesterday.
Yeah, we weren't.
We
gonna talk about
gathered.
that. This is this meeting. I sent that to
We
you.
can still
Yep,
smell the
so-
smoldering fire.
What,
Oh, it's not done.
what we're doing, Linda, is we are on the second item of the agenda, and Peter has asked for any comment from the committee or from the
You have an agenda?
yeah, do you have agenda?
Oh, there's one up on the,
Here, you can look at
I
this.
can't read that thing.
Okay, but anyhow, so Peter's just asking for comment on the his draft of the report to the select board. And he points out that this is for the fiscal year ending June 30th. So the meeting at the Admiralty Club and the meeting at Great Harbor would not be included because it was
Right,
after
you're
June 30th.
30th.
So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and I
Is
have,
it that approval, or that was after June 30th too? Yeah, a lot of stuff happened after June 30th.
June 30th was a long time ago.
Yeah. Tim, you up there somewhere?
yeah, so we also added Roberto to the advisory committee. That was after June 30th, I believe, but we might want to include him on that list.
Okay,
I mean, let me ask, would it make sense? So as this report is a little bit more fulsome, if you want to use the word, that we say after June 30th, we recognize that this is just through June 30th, but after June 30th, a couple of significant things occurred. Roberta was added. We had these two other meetings. I don't know.
we can't.
We can't,
You can't?
this goes in the annual report, does it not, in the
That
book?
goes in the annual report.
Yeah, we
at
can't
town
include
meeting.
anything
Can't
after
add
June
stuff
30th.
that-
Okay.
We can, if we, if we present before the select board, we can, but you can't do it in that document.
Oh,
That book.
okay. I just thought it would be more,
It would,
it
but
would be more,
It would be a lot
Worthwhile.
more, and it'd be great to do that, but
Okay.
then, what you can do, what Erica says in her memo is you put in your accomplishments during that year, and then you put in your goals for the coming fiscal year. So I can
Okay.
put in our goal, it was to hold these meetings, and our goal was to get the approval of the state. We can put that in,
That's
but we
great.
can't say that it happens,
okay,
because we don't know if it happened or not, because we're not in that year.
so everybody's okay with him putting down the stuff we've done since then as our goals, as opposed to this is what we did do.
Well, I won't put it down as we did this.
Right.
I'll say it was our goal to hold other meetings. And so I'll say it, we wanted to do this. And then next year I'll say we did
We
this.
did this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Linda, why don't you take over since you've got the agenda and we just got started
okay.
as the chair? So I yield the chair to,
Is everybody okay with this document with that caveat?
Yeah.
Emily's got a thumbs up. Who else is up there? Oh, there's Jesse.
I had something really nitpicky. And I apologize in advance for this. Thank you so much, Peter, for writing this. I guess I'm reading when the people are listed, the members, when it says Dave Franzuto, and then there's a semicolon and Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board, comma, Linda Williams. I'm reading that as like,
Oh, yeah, no.
Linda is the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory
Yeah,
Board.
the
And then,
semicolon's in the wrong place. It should be after advisory board and before me.
That is nitpicky, but I'll make the change.
I'm gonna be on something I'm
not just
supposed
for
to be
Dave,
on.
for all the other.
I'm
Just for
somewhere I'm not
Jesse.
supposed to be.
Okay.
sorry, the grammar police.
No semicolon.
Okay, so does somebody want to make that motion with those changes?
I just have one more thing to note.
Yeah.
I believe we launched the survey in July, I think. I think it was July, but we could say that we were developing survey questions if we want to bulk this up a little bit, because that is something we did before June 30th.
Okay,
Okay,
We were developing.
developing questionnaire.
Yeah,
Island
questionnaire
flag.
For distribution.
for summer launch or something.
Okay. Cool. So somebody want to make a motion to approve this with those changes?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay,
and so for discussion, just so you guys know, what you're doing is you're approving this document as I've written it with the changes that you're all requesting and trusting me to turn out a document that represents us.
Yeah.
Okay,
just watch those semicolons, because that's not the only semicolon in the wrong
Yeah.
place. They're all over the wrong place. So
Fine.
watch those semicolons up there.
I'm going to the land bank office and get rid of them.
You can borrow her, she probably has like Warner's Book of Grammar on her shelf there.
I do.
Listen, substance over form. You 100% substance. You knocked it out of the park.
Okay,
The
so
elements of style.
all in
I think
favor,
is strict
Roberta,
white.
Steve,
Aye.
Phil,
aye,
Peter,
I,
Linda
Seth?
Strunk and E.B. White.
Aye.
Bingo Grable.
Jesse,
Aye.
and I just lost one.
Yeah,
Emily's up
You got
there.
Emily
Okay.
and Samantha.
Emily,
Aye.
Samantha,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and myself. Aye. Thank you very much, Peter.
Yep.
Okay, infrastructure improvements, Dave Franzuto.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just got a few issues that I want to bring up for the board's committee's consideration in the future. I don't expect there to be a lot of discussion today, but these are issues that these are some issues that I want you to be thinking about, and I'm going to be sending out some reading material and some handouts and some photographs that further explain what I'm thinking here.
Dave, send them to Jeff and have Jeff send them out.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Okay, so where are
Um,
we? Yeah,
All right, these are in no particular order, but the need for a secondary steamship terminal that I'm proposing on the east side of the West Jetty, adjacent to the large parking lot that is by Bathing Beach Road. It's basically a concrete supported structure over the barrier beach, similar to what is in Oak Bluffs, which is some of the photographs that I'm going to be sending to you. Incorporated in this design would be a public fishing pier. Again, similar to Oak Bluffs that the Public Access Board built and maintains in perpetuity. And the all-encompassing, we've talked about it for 35 years, second in-town boat ramp. The second item I want to not be lost in the shuffle is the finalization of some format at Petrol Landing. Even if it is a minimal facility with additional dinghy docks that will reduce the impact on the town pier. I know there's a commercial component and offloading component and all those other things that are being litigated, et cetera, but I don't want this to be lost over time. And the reason I bring that up is the Millie's property in Hither Creek that fell through the cracks and is now being reorganized and rekindled, and the leases are being reviewed by town council. It was supposed to happen in 2018 and nothing happened. So again, we're playing catch up. The third thing is returning the Marine Department Harbor Master's office into an independent department like it was in the 60s until 2012. That's something that I think needs to be considered. And the fourth thing is the ferry embarkation fee. Currently, the ferry embarkation, and I'm going to send you documents on all of this. I have them pulled out. The enabling legislation from 2003, which enables the towns that bought in, and we did at town meeting, to charge 50 cents and up to $1 per trip. I've contacted the finance director 2 or 3 times. He's assured me he has staff working on the revenue and expenditures and any fund balance from previous years. Since 2003, we've always allocated $200,000. I believe that's inadequate. I'm going to propose that we recommend a raising of the fee to $1 per trip. This is for all trips, and I kind of liken the discussion to when Scudder Taylor at Highline raised or actually didn't raise, imposed a fuel surcharge without any discussion whatsoever. I don't believe that 50 cents per trip on any traveler to or from Nantucket, resident or non-resident, would be a burden, and that money can be used for infrastructure improvements. There's never been, to my knowledge, any discussion about the allocation and expenditures of that money. That money historically has gone to pay CSOs for, quote, directing traffic at boat time, unquote. Critical infrastructure improvements, land acquisition in and around Nantucket Harbor, and the famous public safety, which is how we've gotten away from having some type of a review of how these monies are expended. Other communities have committees that look at the revenue and then decide on how it should be spent. To the best of my knowledge, and I believe with the confirmation of the finance director, it has always been applied to the CSOs for the police department. I want that to be reviewed and discussed as to how those funds should be spent. So those are my 4 items that I'd like everybody to just consider, give some thought to, and I'll be providing handouts and documentation for all of those ideas.
Does anybody have any initial comments? I do. coming from the Concom.
Well, I think the second ferry terminal as an emergency backup is a great idea. I wonder if there's been thought about the dislocation of community sailing in that public,
The chance of getting through the Concom are slim to none.
well,
It would,
And-
it,
They dredge the crap out of the anchorage.
well.
no,
just-
I
no, no. When you see the photographs and the charts that I provide, you'll see that it doesn't impact any of the activities that are there. I mean, as far as community sailing, they're still going to be able to operate off of that beach. They're just going to have to operate around a pier. But if we incorporate a public fishing pier, which we've been crying for years, a second in-town boat ramp, which we've been crying about for years, and an alternative for the steamship, and or Highline. Again, when you see the photographs of the one at Oak Bluffs, you'll understand more why I feel that the impacts can be mitigated.
Okay.
Anybody else have a comments about some of these? Seth?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Dave, for your thoughts. I have plenty of thoughts about the embarkation fee because I've always thought that was an underutilized revenue source. And I'm not going to take too much time, but I think from the NP and EDC perspective, which is who I'm representing on this committee, there are a lot of ways that we could get some of our transportation program and transportation planning priorities set with an embarkation fee reassessment. I think, limiting the amount of vehicle traffic could be done through that and raising the price. And I think, looking at having that money go to harbor improvement or to support coastal resiliency efforts is certainly something we should be doing. And we can talk more in depth when we have it in front of us, but I think we can and should adjust that.
Linda, if I may, yeah, I've attempted a couple times to talk to Mike Burns. I have talked to him about this. When I get back on island next week, I'm hoping to catch him on a day that he's on island, and we'll sit down and we'll go over these things so I can get some buy-in from him on these issues. But also, like, I'm glad somebody else has questioned this embarkation fee that's been going on for literally 20 years with no review.
I'm not sure, Dave, what group I was on. So I was on several at one time. Quite a few years ago, we brought up this ferry embarkation fee and what it was meant for in the 2003 warrant when it was passed here. And the fee it wasn't being used for what it was supposed to be used for. It was all going to the police station. And whatever group I happened to be on at that point, we wanted to try to grab some of the money back to do the things that you're talking about and put it where it was supposed to go, which was transportation around the boats and, boat time and, trying to navigate downtown more efficiently. And we were told that we couldn't grab it back from the police station because then they would be under budgeted for whether it's the CSOs or whether it's a rank and file or whatever. So it sort of just, that argument just fell away, and it's gotta be maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, this came up on some group I was on.
But I totally agree with you, Linda, and I've heard this from a couple of people. And I don't want to belabor this. I just want everybody to be thinking about this stuff. And I'm glad
We
it
should.
sparked some conversation. But the legislation is very broadband. And yes, there is a phrase in there that says public safety. And I liken it to the Waterways Improvement Fund. Waterways Improvement Fund is money dedicated. It started out as boat excise tax and now includes the mooring fees and the mooring rental company fees that are paid to the town. And there is a phrase in that legislation that says public safety, just like this legislation, but it's not limited to public safety. And when you pass it at town meeting, I think it was Article 26, it doesn't say for public safety. It says pursuant to the acts of 2003. So all of those options for spending allocation of the funds are always on the table. And maybe in 2003, the finances situation at the time for the police department was dire or whatever. But that doesn't mean that does not exclude all of these other possible uses. And I think it's time to have that discussion.
I will, I'm meeting with Brian, today at 3 o'clock go over the CPC budget. I can just ask him where is it going?
Well, he'll tell you, as he did in an email to me, that it goes to the CSOs. But my point to him was that there are other things that money could or should be spent for. And if you do have a meeting with him, just remind him that he owes me the financials.
For this particular
So I can,
fund? Okay.
Yeah, if I
Yes.
may too, I think I don't want to get on this too much because it might be a little bit outside the harbor plan, but and I might say some controversial things right here, but I think we need to be aggressively looking at that fee because there's all these priorities that you know, factions in Nantucket have been trying to do, such as like limit vehicle traffic, and change transportation to more multimodal ways. And that 50 cents fee hasn't changed at all. Look at how much it's gone. Look at how much vehicle and passenger fares have gone up for the ferries in the 20 years. We still have the same 50 cents. Maybe what we need to do is we can't limit vehicle traffic because it's illegal by law, but maybe we could make the residents have an exemption where that 50 cents is still what you pay. But you want to bring a vehicle over on the ferry, you have to pay $50 embarkation fee. And we take that money and we allocate it to, you know, the huge monetary projects that we're going to need for coastal resiliency, harbor planning, environment, all these projects, transportation plannings. So I think we need to really look at this fee that essentially was put into place, never reevaluated, not serving its purpose, and it has such
Exactly.
a benefit. It could be leveraged for huge financial
for grants.
reward because of the
Yes.
amount of vehicle traffic we have and passenger traffic we have on ferries. And we need to be creative with this fee and really help it do something in the future. Thank you.
It's a great
Well,
idea.
I'm glad
I think we really
glad
do need to
everybody's
do that. Yeah. I just have a couple more comments. Petrol Landing. I don't know where we are in the legal fight over that, but we can't touch it. We can't do anything until the lawsuits are done. And I don't know where town council is.
I would ask Jesse. She would probably know.
Jesse, do you
That's
know where
right.
this is now?
So it made its way all the way through the sort of Concom appeals. I think it's Office of Appeals and Dispute Resolution finally came out. Took a while over COVID to get that decision. It was a biblical decision. It was like 90 pages or something. So it was totally positive in our favor, but then it was appealed again to Superior Court. So now it's outside of DEP and is in the court system again. But
Is it
just
Superior
very,
Court?
huh?
Superior
Superior
Court, not
Court, yeah.
SJC or anything?
Is what?
Superior Court and not an appeals court or an SJC?
I
It's
think
going
it's,
back
I'm
to
pretty sure it's
Superior
Superior Court. Yeah.
State
Wow.
Superior Court.
All right, so not here.
Yeah.
Okay. So SJC.
And then just, you know, my understanding now, this is something that was worked on sort of before I was really intimately involved, but just looking at the decision, there's 2 drop-off pickup parking spaces that are, so it's not like a car can drive up to the edge of the dock and there can unload. It's basically 2 parking spaces close to the road, one of which is handicap accessible. And it says that the project design can accommodate recreational boaters and fishermen with vessels up to 25 feet. Approximately 110 feet of the south side of the floating dock will be reserved for dinghy tie-up boats up to 13 feet long. And 30 feet will be reserved for drop-off pickup for boats up to 25 feet long. And then approximately 70 feet of the north side of the floating dock will be reserved for drop-off pickup for boats up to 25 feet long. So I'm not sure how many boats how many 25-foot long boats that can accommodate, but that is pretty much the program.
Well, thanks, Jesse, and I helped draw up the plans for that, but my point is it needs to continue to be on the burner on this committee and included in a recommendation for resolution in the future, number one. Number two, a modified application or to appease the abutters, which I believe had the appeal is on commercial activity of loading and offloading and the size of boats and starting boats and moving boats at 4 a.m. At a minimum, we should be able to get authorization to build the dinghy dock where you've got a dangerous situation where the dinghies are 6 deep and people are having to climb over 6 dinghies to get ashore to go get their groceries and their dinner. And my suggestion with the Petro Landing was that it would be tie up for the anchorage and the mooring field. So people coming in to go to the Stop and Shop or going to dinner or going wherever would utilize that facility. They wouldn't make any more noise than the noise that is being made at the current dinghy dock, and maybe we could get some resolution. The main thing is I just don't want it to die, and in some format, we can get it constructed.
Yeah,
Well, every time we've met with the public, this Petro Landing has come up, another boat ramp in town has come up. So it's not likely either one of those is gonna fall off the radar here, because it comes up every single time. So.
can I
Those.
ask something about the boat ramp?
Yeah.
So it seems to me like the boat ramp, and I'm not a boater, I'll be full disclosure. But it seems like, so the limitation there, right, it seems like is like land accommodation for, I mean, you can't just build a boat ramp without having some turnaround or, ability to maneuver, right?
Yeah,
Land.
Which has been the hindrance at the 5 other locations that we've attempted to shoehorn a second boat ramp in at, including studies and feasibility and drawings and permitting, et cetera. So my design or the design that I'm going to propose deals with the turnaround issue and the parking. And if the Public Access Board builds it, you have to provide up to 6 or 8 parking spaces for trucks and trailers like we did at Children's Beach. But anyway.
So, and where would you propose, this is that you would have it at Jetties with the second boat ramp?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had a conversation with Sheila, very brief, about this a long time ago, and we kind of wound up back at Children's Beach, because I know everybody there's already a channel there. I mean, is there a way to make that bigger? It's almost easier to modify an existing permit.
Well, we did modify that. We increased it from one back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was only one ramp. We widened it to 2 and provided parking and the turnaround, et cetera, because it's on a corner. The problem there is that Park and Rec owns the land. And it's a very difficult, cumbersome ownership document. And I believe, maybe with further discussion and litigation or whatever, but I don't believe that you can expand that any further onto the beach because of the way the land was gifted and deeded to the Park and Rec Association or
Okay.
Park and Rec.
all right, guys, we
But-
can't solve this problem here. It's on the table though, but we gotta move on.
Yeah, I just want people to be thinking about all this, and I'm gonna send you lots of stuff to look at.
I have one quick question about Petro Landing, and it's probably pretty minor, but is there a plan for relocating the moorings that are in that basin right now that are gonna be moved when that dinghy dock goes out
It's the same
110
thing with the
feet?
jetties. We used to park our boat.
The
over there.
dinghy dock runs parallel to the landing, not perpendicular.
Parallel to the wharf.
It
East and
runs
west.
parallel to the south side of that wharf.
Right.
It doesn't
so-
run perpendicular.
But there's a bunch of moorings in there that are gonna have to go if it goes out 110 feet.
It's parallel to that.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
parallel to the channel.
It's parallel to north,
It's not
south.
going out to the east, it's running north-south.
Yep.
Okay,
you know, it runs a long.
Goes to the east.
East-west.
yeah, so there's, even if it's tucked right up against the wall there, there's all those moorings that are in there.
Yeah, well, the same things at the jetties.
Yeah.
And you gotta dredge the crap out of it. All right, thank you, Dave. We're looking forward to that
Gotta
stuff.
think big.
Again.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in on that for a second. You know, this conversation and these kinds of conversations, I think, are very useful from our end. Right now, we're in the process of drafting sections, drafting recommendations, and we want to get the wording of these kinds of recommendations right as to what you guys want to see in the plan. So, you know, it might be a process of we draft what we've heard, because actually, you know, all these conversations that we're having now too have come up quite a bit in the survey results as well. So, you know, we can keep drafting recommendations and then bringing them in front of you guys and trying to figure out what's feasible, what kind of language do we use, how direct do we want the language to be? And I think that's where it's going to be really useful to get all your feedback on that.
Because we're gonna start going like Phil and I brought up before, section by section, and what we did, what we didn't do, what needs to be done. So we can just concentrate on one section at a time.
Yep.
Because we're scattershot up to now because of the surveys, the meetings, et cetera, so.
Yeah.
Really need to start drilling down on that.
Yeah,
Which-
right now, on our end, we're going through, you know, the interviews, the surveys, the meetings, all of those comments and pulling together our individual sections. And then I think, you know, looking at the recommendations that come up from that, comparing those to what was proposed before, what happened, what didn't happen, you know, what needs to be carried over. That's where it's going to be really important, because we want to make sure, you know, we'll have the things from the last plan that didn't get addressed and still need to, but then we're also going to have a slew of new recommendations that are just fresh.
Yeah, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that, once we pull that all together, Kim, then we will have a chance to allocate, you know, at each meeting, do a section.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense that we want to sort of pull together what we have, so we're not trying to do three things at the same time,
Right,
but we just don't want to lose sight of it.
we just gotta focus. Coming up here, we gotta start really focusing.
Yep.
On stuff, because we've got great meetings, they only last an hour, Roberto, you'll be very happy with that. Do you have any questions, because you're new to the table?
Nothing immediately. I've been keeping up with Mr. Carlson over here.
Okay, great. So that was pretty much the updated harbor plan timeline, wasn't it?
Well, that is, well, I have a slide to share with you guys. Just wanted to talk about where we go from here, because we're basically done with the big engagement, stakeholder engagement, public engagement part. And now what do we do? So here's where we are. So this slide might look familiar to you. We shared this a number of times at the different meetings, but the survey's closed, these meetings are closed, and now we're in, you know, we're still conducting a few lingering interviews here and there, but mostly
I know, call me tomorrow.
yes, Linda and Roberto, I think Emily too, we have a few more on there that we have to do, but we're just finishing up with interviews, and then right now, all of us are kind of writing our individual sections and pulling that together and coming up with a draft plan. What our internal deadline is for sections is December 15th to get our sections together and get them to, you know, at that point, then we're going to pull them together, probably do our own internal edits from the UHI side, and then bring them to you all for your, you know, thorough review, for us to discuss all these different recommendations. And probably at the next meeting, you know, we'll continue to bring forth topics like what Dave brought up, or also if you guys have things that you really want to bring to the table over the next couple meetings that are good to discuss, like these kinds of maybe controversial topics, or, you know, how much do we want to push things forward? I think this is the time to do it. And so, yeah, looking at December 15th for us at UHI to share our sections with each other. And then hopefully, you know, by the end of the year-ish, sending you guys a draft of the plan and begin the process of our own big committee review of it.
Anybody have any questions about that?
No, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay,
then, you know, after that, we'll have, once everybody on the committee and the people at UHI, once we feel good about the plan as a draft, we'll then share it with the public. Then the public will have some time. I think, is it 60 days, Jack? 60 days to review? I don't know if Jack's still there. I can't see him. But I think it's about 60 days to review. We'll also do a public meeting. And then, you know, we'll continue on with the approval part, which includes another public meeting and then a public hearing for the state approval part. So it's kind of what we're looking at, and then the fun task of implementation begins.
where the rubber meets the road.
Always.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Thank you very much. Anything
yeah,
else going
that's-
on here?
That's where we stand. One thing I wanted to mention is, so we have another meeting scheduled for 2 weeks from today and then another early December. We wanted to ask if people saw a need for the Monday, November 20th meeting, or right now from our end, we're basically just kind of writing. We could potentially find some topics to bring to you guys, but we also can just spend the next month really writing and then meet again in early December to share where we're at and the kinds of updates that we have.
Does anybody have a great yearning desire to meet during Thanksgiving week?
No, let's see what they have in early December.
Yeah.
Traveling that day anyway.
Not got people
I
coming.
think, yeah.
Deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Cooking.
let's.
yeah, so let's bag the 20th. I think that was unanimous.
Great, that was easy.
Thursday on that week is perfect.
Yeah.
What, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving?
So would that be December 4th then? That's our next meeting we had scheduled.
Yep, and I'll update our calendar invite.
Okay.
I survived strong.
Yeah, and in the meantime, as we're writing our sections, we might reach out to you guys individually to get some feedback on some recommendations we're drafting and make sure that we're on the right track.
Yeah, and it has to be simpler to wade through for somebody in the public that has no clue. It's gotta be user-friendly kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the matrix that we have is definitely not user-friendly. And it wasn't user-friendly the last time.
Yeah.
So if you can get it so the public and anybody can just sort of understand what it is with an explanation if something's problematic. That'd be really great. So don't make it so complicated that we just can't get there from here.
Yep, definitely. And we have a lot of input, which is great, but you know, it's a lot of input. So we're going through all that now.
All right, so our interviews, you've already explained the survey analysis, I assume you're still doing?
That's what we're doing next committee meeting. And the only other thing, well, I just wanted to share that we have a survey winner who's very excited about her gift card from Hallover.
Who's the winner? Who's the winner?
Somebody named Susan?
It sounds like she doesn't actually live here year round anymore, but you,
So don't start with that. Fred. You had enough
But
of
she-
that.
she said she would, but she said she would be back on, she said she would be back on island visiting friends in the next month, so Kim, I actually stopped by the Hall over yesterday and gave them her name, so it will be waiting for her.
Perfect. She seemed very excited.
That is your business.
Done. Okay, well, thank you very much. Anybody have any other comments?
Yeah, I've got one more thing.
Yeah.
And this may be, one of the more controversial topics.
Oh my God, more controversy. in this
Well,
room.
we only touched on it briefly, and I want to see if we can bring it up again or talk about it. But Jeff had mentioned, the possibility of doing something to get some kind of local chapter 91 enforcement.
We brought it up at the planning, at the Concom also. So this is not off the table
Okay,
yet,
because I think that's something we should.
because there is no enforcement, because they have one person doing the enforcements and they're
Right,
paying no
and so
attention.
maybe, some kind of a local bylaw that gives the town some teeth to do some enforcement. Is that, I think that's something that we should discuss for the harbor plan because
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What was it, what did we end up with at the Concom on that discussion? Is that there was something we could put into the town warrant to give us oversight or something?
Well, I think you would almost create like a parallel process to the state process that you would do locally.
is that better under the Concom or something that we can incorporate into the harbor plan?
Maybe.
Well, the Concom would have to support that. We don't have any jurisdiction over chapter 91, but this has come up over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Right.
You would just have to designate, with any
Somebody.
bylaw, you just have to designate an enforcing authority.
Yeah.
And the bylaw, once it's adopted through town meeting,
So I guess my question is this an appropriate place to incorporate language into the harbor plan?
Absolutely,
Totally.
absolutely, because
Madam
again,
Chair, if I may,
every group, chapter 41 has come up on every group we've had.
I think Seth had a hand.
Dave,
I
that
think
you?
Is that,
That
Seth?
was Seth.
yeah, thank you. And thank you, Steve. And I think it is an important recommendation for the harbor plan. Just for those of you who don't know, a little bit of the background of this, Concom has sent the letter to the state asking for more clarity and more help on Nantucket with chapter 91. Crack has sent the letter and the select board has sent the letter. And as far as I know, we haven't received responses to any of those letters. In terms of like local control over chapter 91, I wouldn't see that as being reasonable, although I'm not town council, but I don't see how a local body could assert control over a state process. But I think what Jeff is getting at is we could create a alternative regulatory authority that deals with public waterfront and access issues, that there was a scenario where both a chapter 91 license and some type of Nantucket local permit was required. But I think we're never going to gain local authority over chapter 91. The
No.
best we can do is ask for more help, and then
How did that
we
letter
can
go?
consider a local process. But again, that's we're probably into the home rule petitions and lengthy, difficult things at
I'm
that
talking
point.
to Julian later too.
No, so just a quick update on that stuff, and sorry to interrupt everyone. We did recently just get a response from Waterways that they had seen it. And they are looking to potentially try to set up a time to come out to Nantucket to talk about those letters. But that's all pretty early, but nothing really substantive as part of the questions in the letter.
Well, as I say,
But they responded in like the last week.
good, because I'm talking to Dylan and Julian about other issues up at the state, and maybe there's something he can do to get them to be a little bit more responsive.
Well, I think, not to like badmouth the state, I think that's great. That they're gonna say they're gonna be more responsive, but they don't have the people. They just don't.
True. Yeah.
Right, like we've heard, right, let's see if we can do the math. How many times have we heard they're gonna be more responsive for herbicide and pesticide?
Oh, geez.
Like a million.
Every time we.
But they don't have the human to do it, and that's, right, like, they're gonna say it till they're blue in the face.
So what's
but
the point of having regulations if they don't have anybody who's actually going to,
Well,
enforce
that
it?
would be a question.
We have experience with that.
We have experience with that.
lots of experience.
We had
No,
more
but-
experience yesterday, but we have experience with that.
But I do think there's an opportunity to try to get creative here to create something that looks similar, that gets the local involvement that I think we're all seeking in a legal way.
There's an awful lot of shoreline here, let's face it.
Most
Between-
shoreline in the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So not just here, but all the way up to Newburyport, all the way from down in Seekonk, all the way up.
Yeah.
Has anybody else done anything? Somebody already reinvented this wheel?
No,
Or we're sort of blazing the trail ourselves on this one?
let's blaze the trail.
Okay,
Let's do it.
because we need we need the environmental part of this. I mean, you see green grass 10 feet from the water, there shouldn't be green grass there.
Well, I mean,
That's
and
slightly different.
and
Shouldn't be
enforcement's
grass at
always
all.
an issue, especially out here on Nantucket, but if we don't
I don't have it.
if we don't have anything
I
on
got
the
little
books,
circles.
then there's nothing
Yeah,
to
there you
enforce. So
Yeah,
Well,
So first we gotta get it on the books and then,
one example, if I get it right, is we have a shellfish warden, the shellfish constable, J.C. Johnson, enforcing state laws. So can we have a local person who works for the town enforcing chapter 91?
So the difference in all of this is if you go through the state shellfish code, state shellfish, both the CMRs and Mass General Law delegates authority to a shellfish warden or constable, depends which document you look at, for the purpose of doing that, but the state law specifically does that. Chapter 91 does not. And when asked about it before, there has been little to no interest in adding a local authority component to chapter 91 as it sits on the books.
Well, that needs to be done. And I'm sure we're not the only community in the state that's having the same lack of enforcement of chapter 91.
Can we do it through a home rule petition?
I'm sure with that.
We could try it.
Maybe.
What about that
or as Jeff said,
situation?
we do parallel, we do some kind of parallel thing where we create our own regulatory,
What-
or like Seth said, a local license.
I know.
What about that situation with the Harvard and the crew? That's a chapter 91 matter, right? The one with the boathouse?
What, in the Charles?
Yeah. That's a big, it was in the news a while back that there was a bit of a public outcry that the public should have right to walk across the front of the boat.
The front of the boathouse.
Well, I don't know all of the details.
But these are all good things that we really, before the finalized report, we should have an idea of how we're
Yeah.
gonna deal with
Well,
this.
and some of these may also be really good goals to come out of the final
Yeah.
report, would be to put this together and have it as a goal to explore fully or to develop a,
Yeah.
a
We don't,
potential bylaw for the town.
we don't have to solve it now, we just have to put it in the plan, and then we implement it, and the implementation is a large extension of this conversation we're trying not to have right now.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Well, I think the Concom has some access issues when we approve something. But we can't specifically
The Concom doesn't,
restrict chapter 91. We can't even talk about chapter.
no,
91. We
the
do all the time.
Concom doesn't have the regulatory authority
Authority
to
for chapter 91.
require like a public access component related to the wetlands permitting, because we're tied to the interest in the bylaw.
Yeah,
Even if it's recreation, I don't think we'd be able to force some level of extraordinary public access, but I'm not saying that you couldn't develop something to do it
yeah.
with some thought.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because we hadn't talked, it was mentioned briefly and then it was kind of.
No, it's comes up every time we have a Concom meeting.
Right.
So it's not gonna fall off the radar, but it is something that we really need to keep there, along with petrol landing, along with another boat ramp. I mean, they come up every single
Yeah.
time we have a public hearing, and I'm sure they're not gonna not come up again. And I'm sure some of the surveys bring that up, probably a large percentage of it. So, yeah, I think those are all great issues to keep in the front of our heads. Okay, anything other comments from the board members up there, you guys?
Sure.
What time is it?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, we're 2 minutes early. Bill made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Peter
Second.
seconded. You're too late,
Need to filibuster 5 more minutes.
Roberto.
I'm good.
Steve,
Yes.
Peter,
all right,
Phil,
Aye.
Jesse,
Aye.
Seth,
Hi.
Emily,
Hi.
Dave,
Uh,
I'm Di. Thank you, everybody. We're
Bye,
the
thank you.
town that only
Happy
meets for an hour
Thanksgiving,
and gets everything on the internet.